I want to say before I get into this video that this video isn't a family-friendly video, and if you're watching with your kids, please turn this video off. This video isn't a video for young eyes. If you are a kid and you're watching this video, please turn this video off, because I understand over the years you guys have trusted me to provide family-friendly content, and this isn't a video that's for the whole family, because today's video is going to be pretty full-on. I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I've gone through over the past 4 years, and then things that I went through during my marriage as well. I'm going to talk about why I eventually left Nikki. I'm going to talk about the unfaithfulness. I'm going to talk about family violence. I'm going to talk about some things that I've never wanted to talk about. You're probably asking, why would I talk about this 4 years later? Well, in the beginning, as I said, I never wanted to talk about it because I hoped that things would get better. But then as I went through my long divorce, I didn't want to talk about it while the divorce was still going, because I was scared that I may lose even more from talking about it. So I never wanted to take that chance. I need to talk about it as well because I need to explain why I'm no longer able to provide for the girls the same way that I have been providing for so long. And why when I come back to YouTube, the type of content that I have to make will be so different. And I feel like I can't just throw that at you guys as my audience without some kind of explanation. And ultimately, I just feel like I need to talk about what I've been going through for the sake of my mental health, because keeping this all bottled up for so long, it's been destroying me. It's been hard. If you're somebody who's watching this video and you empathize with me and what I've gone through, if you genuinely care about me, I'm asking you not to go and harass Nikki. The best thing that you can do, if anything, is just support me as I go ahead and support the girls.
I'm not dropping no damn kids at no police station.
You have to. You have to. You actually have to.
That proves you don't care about these kids.
No, it proves I do, because I'm protecting their safety. I'm the one protecting their safety.
The thought of a police last time. Did you not hear her last time?
I'm protecting the children from their safety. You've been violent. You've hit me in front of them. You've abused me in front of them.
That does not make them violent people. Let me remind you right now who you are. You are not shit. You ain't never been shit from day one. You will never be shit, you motherfucker. Try me. Fucking keep trying me.
I'm not trying you. I'm trying to be fair, and I'm trying to protect my safety and the kids' safety.
I will expose your ass. I swear to God I will. Keep fucking trying me, Jamie. I swear to God. No. I've had enough of this motherfucking shit. At the police station.
I think the only person who can be exposed is you. You're the cheater. You're the violent person. But I'm not doing that because I don't want my kids to have to see the real you on the internet.
Where have I been? Why did I just vanish from YouTube? It's been months since I posted a video, and I feel like I can't come back to YouTube without being just open about what my life's been like for the last 4 years and why I just gave up. And there's just so much to unpack. I don't know how to put it all into a video. And then I can't talk about all of it because, I've been through the court system for a long time, and I'm not able to talk about any of that stuff. My divorce only just finalized in March. Over the years, I've had to spend about $160,000 just on legal fees. And coming up with that money over the years has been incredibly hard. There's been moments where I just didn't know how I was gonna going to get that sort of money. I've been quietly struggling for a really, really long time, and I've just been in fear. I've been living in fear. I've been living in survival mode, pretty much on autopilot for a really long time, just trying to maintain my place as a father in Ava and Zoe's lives. Years ago, when I found out that I was going to have to go through stuff to remain in their life, I made a solid decision that I would do anything and everything that I had to do to remain a present father in their life, to remain, to have a meaningful relationship with them. I told myself, if I have to go broke, if I have to give up absolutely everything, I'll do that, because the most important thing to me in life is being a father to Ava and Zoe. And I've been through hell and back to remain a father. The only way I can describe the feeling of when I found out that I was going to have to go through so much to remain a father is it felt like I got hit with a tidal wave. And I felt like Jaime, the individual, got washed away in one direction, and it was as if he was never seen again. And Jaime, the father, got washed in another direction, and he survived. And that's kind of all I've been ever since. All I've really been able to have the strength to be is to be a father. It's like I've forgotten a lot of things that used to make me happy, that I used to be interested in. Even, I guess, like, one of the best ways to explain it is I used to be a music nerd. I've always been really into music, and a lot of the time I struggle to enter conversations about music and artists that I used to be really into and music history and stuff like that. It's like I've forgotten so much about things that I used to really care about. It's like that part of me was just washed away. And, over the years, it's just like everything's about being a dad. People are always like, what else are you into outside of being a dad? We only see you being a dad. Being a dad it's my everything. It's my existence. It's what I've just poured my whole life into, because it's something that's just been so incredibly important to me. And my life has just been made to be incredibly difficult over the years. When I first left Nikki, I truly hoped that we would be able to co-parent. I hoped that she would stay in the house that we lived in, because it was her dream house. It was a house that I never wanted to get. It was in an area that I loved, but I didn't want that house, and I really didn't want to renovate that house. I knew it was a bad idea. I knew how controlling Nikki was and how she got, and I knew with a newborn baby and how overworked I was, it was a bad idea. But she insisted. We made an agreement that we wouldn't do the renovation ourselves, and that we would budget and pay somebody else to do it all. And then after we bought the house, she just went back on that agreement, and it caused a lot of drama. And we went over that budget that we'd agreed on, and it was just, that whole experience was a nightmare. It never felt like a home. It just felt like her thing. And I wasn't really allowed a say in any of it. And so I just assumed that she would keep that house and I would get a place close by, and we would try and co-parent for the sake of the girls that we both loved and both still do love. But she left. She didn't want the house. I got stuck with it. I got stuck with paying the mortgage myself.
the renovation still was unfinished, and she actually tried to make me pay for most of the renovation that needed to be done as well. I got stuck with the body corporate fees, with the rates, and she moved an hour and a half away in good traffic. In peak hour traffic, it was about 2. And then I got hit with the you can see your kids every second weekend, and then every second Wednesday from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. And I feel like I can talk about this because I don't watch her videos, but people tell me when she makes videos and talks about certain things, and I had been told that she had made a video way back when where she had said that the girls lived with her and that was the arrangement. So that's what the arrangement was. It wasn't one that was you know, like a judge didn't come up with that arrangement, she did. But in Australia, it's hard to get the right citizen. I'm being very careful in how I word this, because I don't want to talk about anything that I'm not supposed to talk about. But because it's not, information is already out there, I feel like I can. So that was quite difficult. I say quite difficult. It was the hardest thing I ever went through, seeing the girls that little. And she got to the point where she would refuse to even help with the pickups or drop-offs. So I was having to do all that driving. On Wednesdays, it was particularly hard because I would hit peak hour traffic on the way there, and then peak hour traffic when I was returning them. Fortunately, the girls were always so excited to get back to our house and you know, have fun, that, you know, the trip there was never too long. We'd get good traffic on the way back, and then, you know, when I would drop them off, they'd be exhausted from all the fun we'd had in those few hours, and they would sleep, but it would exhaust me, and I would literally just spend my time away from them planning things to do with them, because that made me feel like I was still connected to them. It made me feel like I was still a dad somehow, like I was still in their life, like I was still present. And that was the hardest time of my life, and I wanted to be a real dad more than anything. I didn't even know where Ava went to kindergarten. Not only did I didn't get to be involved in the decision of where she went to kinder or when she went to kinder, but she was enrolled. I didn't even know where she went to kinder. I didn't know how she was doing there. I didn't even get access to, you know, there's these great kinder apps these days where parents can see photos of what their kids are up to during the week. And, you know, for the most part of her kinder, I didn't get access to that. I had to go through other means to finally find out that information and get to meet her teacher and find out how she'd been doing. And that was just, it was horrible. I remember when Zoe went to kinder, she had a Father's Day thing where the fathers were invited to come to the class and, you know, be involved and see some of their artwork and sit down and you know, paint with them. And I almost cried in that class, because it just felt like such an honor being able to experience that with Zoe, because I just wanted that so bad with Ava. And yeah, it's been a long journey, and once again, I feel like I can mention this because I've been told Nikki has made a video where she's talked about the fact that we have joint custody. So yeah, I did eventually get joint custody. 50-50. I'm present dad, and I have been for a while. And I had to sacrifice a lot. Yeah, so like once I was finally able to sell the house, I moved down here. Nikki didn't think I ever would move here. She knew where we live would be very hard for me. I didn't know anyone down here aside from, I have one good friend who lived down here, which was, you know, just a blessing that he lives down here. I don't think I would have been able to get through this transition without him. It's been incredibly difficult for work. Like, to work down here, there's not a lot going on. Where we live is very far from the city. It's essentially the country. There's not a lot going on down here, especially for creatives. When Nikki and I first broke up, I had hoped to follow some of my dreams. I wanted to start taking risks again, because at that point in time, we both had money. We were both relatively well off, and we were both relatively set up. We both could have succeeded if things, if we had been amicable and decided to put the girls first, we both could have had very successful careers. I wanted to start being creative again and take some risks and start traveling again. And I still wanted to do the family YouTube, and I've worked hard building this over the years. So I wanted to do that, but I also wanted to get back into filming for other people, because that's always where I was the happiest. But when I discovered that I was going to have to, do everything and anything to remain, a really present father in the girls' lives, to fight for that, I made the decision that I couldn't travel. I couldn't get like a regular job, because I needed to be able to be a stay-at-home dad. I needed to be able to put myself in a position where I could continue being a really, really present dad who can do all the school pickups, who can do the school drop-offs, who can, do everything at home that I needed to do. And Nikki was never going to get a regular job, and so she always had that argument of she's gonna be at home. So YouTube, the family vlog, was what I decided to focus on the most, because that's what allowed me to be the most present father that I could be. It's allowed me to just spend so much time with the girls. It's been the biggest blessing in the world to be able to share all these experiences with them and experience so much of their younger years in a way that I wouldn't have been able to if I was doing another job. YouTube has been the saving grace of our family since the beginning. When Nikki and I got married, or before Nikki and I got married, we had discussed in detail what we thought a marriage would look like. And we both agreed that our marriage was going to look like us both working and being a partnership, being a team, and setting goals and buying a house one day and working towards that. And I've always had health problems since my early teenage years, which have held me back with work over the years. I've had my struggles. But when we first got married, Nikki decided she didn't want to work. Before we got married, Nikki worked part-time in hospitality, and then she did modeling on the side. It was her passion, and it was something that I believed, and I still believe she could have been incredibly successful in. It's something that she's always used to talk about, how one day she was going to be a supermodel, and I truly believe that she was going to be. She was, still is, a very beautiful woman. I can't take that from her. And, she went to New York, and it didn't go the way that she thought it would. And that was hard for her. And then she got the opportunity to go to South Africa, and she didn't want to go. And I tried to put myself in her shoes, and I thought, if I had an opportunity to do something that had always been my dream, what would I want to do? And because I cared about her and I believed in her, I encouraged her to go and take the chance, and I built her up and told her I believed in her, because I truly did. And she went to South Africa, and the OG subscribers who watched all of that know, it didn't really go as planned. And when she came back, she took that really hard. And I understand it wouldn't have been easy, because, she'd built herself up and it didn't go the way that she had hoped for. And I wore a lot of the blame for that, because I had encouraged her and I had built her up and you know, made her believe that it could be something that it didn't eventuate to be. And she was struggling with depression and said she didn't want to work. She wanted to take a break from work. And initially I was supportive of that because I wanted her to be happy. I wanted to be a good husband. Obviously, I'd never been a husband before. I'd never been like, you know, in the provider role. And I just wanted to do what I could to give her the best life that she could, because she had a hard life. She'd been through a lot growing up. I was just trying to give her what I believed that she deserved. And so I started trying to do whatever I could do to make things work. I believed that eventually she would go back to work and it wouldn't always be like this. And I was working 7 days a week. I had so many different jobs. I worked in retail part-time. I was interning as a videographer, trying to learn how to, you know, be a videographer and start my own business. But a lot of the jobs that I was doing, I wasn't getting paid for, or I was getting paid very minimal. So that wasn't paying a lot. I was picking up jobs with my dad on building sites when they would come up, just laboring. And then I was doing this YouTube thing, like the YouTube videos in the beginning that would come out, I think like once a month, or sometimes, you know, even longer periods than that. But I was spending a lot of time researching how to make YouTube work, how to monetize it, because, you know, we were getting a few $100s a month in the beginning, and that just seemed like free money. And I saw a potential in it. And I was working 7 days a week. I was so exhausted. I'd started this channel years before Nikki and I even started dating, and I would post my music on it. I would post videos of my S2000 on it. It was just something that I did for fun. But then the proposal video went viral, and it sort of turned into something else. And Nikki loved watching vlogs. I didn't really see the point of vlogs, to be honest, in the beginning. But she was passionate about it, and I wanted her to have something, and I saw the potential in it. So I would build and build and build in hopes that eventually she would take over, because that was the original plan, that she was going to take over. It's what she wanted to do. She wanted me to teach her how to edit and film and things like that. And it did continue to take over, but for the most part, I was doing all the work side, and, you know, I was networking behind the scenes, and I was building and just hoping that eventually she would take over or get a job of some sort. And it never changed, and I was just burning myself out. So in the first, when we first got married, I had pneumonia twice in 1 year. I was hospitalized quite badly with it at one point, and I spoke to the doctor about, you know, everything that I was doing, how hard I was working, how overworked I was, how stressed I was, and my health conditions. And he's like, no wonder you've got pneumonia. No wonder your immune system is just so broken down. You're getting sick all the time. This is too much for you to handle. And she acknowledged that I needed to slow down, but just acted like I was overreacting about how much I needed help. And I was just always stressed. So I felt like I had to make YouTube work. I had to do something to make it work. And I was trying to build my video business at the same time as well. And it wasn't really making money, but it was growing. And I was so happy doing what I was doing with that. And I was so in love with Nikki that I just wanted to make our marriage work as well, even though we had all these issues around work and around her attitude that as a husband I was just supposed to provide for her, and she wanted to just take care of the house. I wanted us to share the household duties. I wanted us to share the work. It wasn't like I was saying get a full-time job. She never really wanted to. And when it got to the point where we got pregnant with Ava, and she was desperate for children, and I was desperate to make her happy. I just wanted our marriage to get better. She kept telling me if we have kids, things would get better.
she should be more motivated. And when it got to the point where, you know, got pregnant and our channel blew up even more, I just felt like I kind of had to give up on my dreams and my job of having a film company and focus full time on YouTube. And she wanted me at home, and she wanted YouTube to be the thing so long as I was doing all the work. And that's kind of how YouTube was our saving grace, because we weren't making a lot of money before YouTube became the full-time job. We were just, you know, we were getting by. And YouTube just, honestly, like, we were blessed. We were beyond blessed with the amount of money that we made out of YouTube. But it was me doing the majority of the work with YouTube. And the reality is YouTube never would have been what it was without her. I'm not a narcissist nor delusional. People didn't watch the channel for me. Nikki is charismatic. She's great to look at. She's funny. She's creative. She's somebody who is much more of a natural when it comes to talking to the camera than I am. I'm the type of person, I like to be behind the camera much more than in front of the camera. So I've always known that people watch predominantly, you know, for her. I kind of felt like I didn't have my own identity for a long time. I was just Nikki's husband, but it was the hit that I had to take for our family to have what I thought was the best life that they could have. And, you know, over the years I did try and, you know, say, take the channel, let me go back to work. You know, I got my office and I would try and, you know, go to the office, but she would always have excuses for me to stay home. And I wasn't able to have my own thing. So YouTube, you know, it has been the saving grace of our family since, you know, our family began. Without YouTube, I don't know how we would have gotten by with me being the only one working, and how bad my health was getting with, you know, the pressure of being the only one working. And now I can't do YouTube anymore. I can't go fully into detail, but essentially an agreement was made that I agreed to. It wasn't an agreement that, you know, was written up by higher ups. It was just an agreement that at a very broken point where I just wanted to just end all this drama. I wanted to move on with my life, where I just, you know, I've been diagnosed with PTSD from all the stuff that I've been through. I have situational depression, and I signed an agreement that says I can only make one family video a week, which, you know, my channel is a family channel. When you look at the analytics, we go to what your subscribers have watched recently, every video is always a family vlog. So the algorithm categorizes my channel as a family channel and pushes the videos out to people who watch, you know, predominantly family vlogs. So if I do a video that isn't a family vlog, it doesn't get put out. Like, let's say I do a car video and I title it with car sort of stuff. I put the thumbnail with car sort of stuff. When I put that video out, it doesn't get pushed out to people who like car videos. It still gets pushed out to people who like family videos. So making video outside of my genre is very hard, because people watch for a certain reason, which is completely understandable. It's the same thing with all my other platforms. I'm kind of categorized in that way. So there's an agreement in place where I can only make one video a week, and that goes across all my platforms. So let's say I make a 5-second reel on Instagram 1 week. It means I can't post my weekly YouTube video that week. The more my views go down, the less that I can charge for when I do sponsored videos, because sponsorships is how I've been making money over the years. I make
very little money off of YouTube AdSense. These are sort of, the months, sort of typical months that I've been having for a long time. So it's not enough to live off, to pay my rent off. I need to get, brand deals. But brands don't pay for how many subscribers you've got. They pay for, what your average view count is. So it's been very hard to maintain YouTube as something that I can do for a job, even though it's been what I've done for a job for so long. And I get more money from Instagram campaigns than I do YouTube campaigns these days. And then I also have the fear of posting videos that aren't sponsored, because the way my industry works is it's very fast paced. A lot of the time a company will reach out to me and say, we need someone to create content in the next couple of days. Can you do a video? And, usually they're really fun videos that me and the kids, we love to do. Me and the kids, we love making videos, especially YouTube videos. That's where we have the most fun. Because we just get to have so much fun and do so many amazing experiences, and it's what's allowed me to be so present. So we love doing them for free. But it's like I've had situations come up where a brand will come to me and say, hey, we want to pay, we need you to make a reel, something really simple in the next couple of days for us, of you guys having fun with a toy or something like that, which is stuff we love to do. But I'll have to say, sorry, I uploaded a video this week, I can't do it this week, can I do it next week? There has been times where they'll just say, no, I'm sorry, but our campaign is this week. And so it's like, if I post a video I'm not making money out of, it can make it so I can't post a video I can make money out of. And I need to pay my rent, because the way I've been living for a long time is I've kind of been averaging one brand deal a month. It was like a miracle. I would go through the month thinking, how am I going to get my rent paid? How am I going to get these lawyers paid? And then a brand deal would magically come through. So it would be scary to post something that was just something really fun, that, like, me and the kids, we always make videos for fun that we never post. And they're the stuff that I would enjoy posting, but it's like it could sabotage my chance of paying my rent that month. I was getting by living like this, with this, one video a week type deal. And it was becoming harder and harder. And then in, March, the divorce finally finalized. And it felt like I finally, got to take a breath. And I started looking around at how much I've lost, how much I've been forced to sacrifice. And I kind of gave up. I've done a few brand deals over the past few months because I've had to pay my rent, and I know people get upset only seeing branded videos, and it makes sense. I understand people don't just want to see ads, and it's not what I want to give you guys. I want to give you guys genuine content, but as you could probably now understand, it's been hard. And I understand there's something really cringeworthy about an influencer complaining about not being able to, do a social media job. Because social media, it is an industry that has absolutely no guarantees, and it is pure privilege and blessing to be able to say that your job, the way that you earn money, is through entertaining people on social media. That's not lost on me at all. It has been a privilege and a blessing. I've been incredibly lucky. I've got to have experiences that a lot of people would kill for, and some of them I'm paid for, some of them I'm not, but I've been incredibly lucky and blessed over the years, and there's people in way, way, way worse situations than me, and that's why
I feel guilty even in complaining about this situation that I'm in now. And if my career had completely ended on its own accord, I would just take it. There's no complaint, because it's a blessing. I've been doing this for 12 years. There's not many people, 11 or 12 years, there's not many people who can say that. So it's an absolute blessing and not a right. But the hard part is it wasn't of its own accord. The career didn't completely die on its own. And it was always going to go down. It's always been going down. But I still could have survived off it a bit longer while I finally got to pick myself back up again, because until the divorce finalized, I was focusing solely on getting to remain in the girls' lives as a real dad, not an every second weekend dad. And I didn't really focus on anything else. And it's only now that I can finally start thinking, what can I do with my life? How can I provide? And I'm in a lot of debt now. I'm in more debt than I have money or assets to cover. This month I'm not doing great anymore. And I guess I've tried to keep up appearances over the years because I'm a lifestyle creator. So there's the pressure of, kind of looking like you're doing all right, at least for Instagram. On Instagram, I try and keep everything polished because that's kind of what people want to see. So I've, kind of had to invest in clothes and, things like that. The Porsche, the only reason that I had the privilege and honor of having that for so long was, I think I can say this, it was part of an asset pool with the divorce. So it wasn't actually owned by me. It was owned by our old company. So I wasn't able to sell it. If it wasn't for the divorce going for so long, I wouldn't have maintained that car for as long as I did. But now I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure out what to do. I live very far from the city, so there isn't a lot of creative opportunities down here for someone, with my skill sets. I'm decent with video, but I'm pretty rusty with traditional video because I've just been doing YouTube stuff for a long time. I'm trying to figure out what to do that I can still do the school runs with, because the girls live with me week on, week off, and I need to be able to get them to school and pick them up from school. My mum has moved down here and she helps, but she doesn't drive, and the bus system doesn't go near her house. So I have to get them to her house. So for now, the only thing that I've been able to figure out that I can do where I won't lose my place in their life as a real dad is Uber. So for the last few months, I've been an Uber driver. Some of you guys have, you've gotten in my car and been like, wait, I know you, why are you my Uber driver? And for the most part, I don't want to bum people out, and I just say I'm taking a break from YouTube. But the reality is, this is how I'm trying to pay my rent. I will, I'll the week that the girls aren't here, I'll work 10, sometimes 12-hour days. This car isn't the most fuel efficient, so it's not the greatest car for Uber, but it's kind of what I've got at the moment. And I'll work through the week while they're gone, because when they come back, the original plan was to, do Uber while they're at school, and then do Uber, after school, after I drop them at my mum's house. And that's what I do a lot of the time. But because I live so far out, there's not a lot of trips down here, and I have to stay in this area. I can't drive to the city because, within the time periods that I've got between school pickups and then between getting them home to bed and bath and making sure they're all ready for bed,
if I go to the city and back, like the amount of petrol I use, it sort of eats up the profit that you make. So I purposely stay in this area while I'm doing it. And, you know, like sometimes I'll go an hour and a half and then get a 10-minute trip, because people, you know, down here, they're just taking short trips. They're not really going far most of the time. There's the very occasional person going to the airport, which, you know, if it's on a day where I'm with the kids, I can't do those trips. Something I have to say is I'm enjoying the interaction with so many people. I felt really isolated for a long time, and I developed social anxiety, and this has been helping me get over social anxiety. I set a goal to find something that I like about every person who gets in my car, and most of them have been just so nice. I've really had some experiences that I've really enjoyed, and I'm actually starting to see a bit of my old self come through again through conversations that I'm having with people. It's actually helping my healing, but it's not earning enough to be able to provide for the girls the way I want to provide. So I've gotten to the point where I've realized I can't maintain the rent of the house that I'm in right now. And I also know that that's a privilege. It's a privilege to have. It's a pretty nice house. It's a 3-bedroom house with an office and a hot tub, and, you know, a small backyard for us to run around in. So you know, it's a blessing. It's not a right. It's a blessing to have a nice house. But the thing is, I know if I was doing YouTube consistently, or if I could do, you know, a few reels a week, I could maintain that while I figure out what my next move is living down here. So over the last 4 years, I've just been in fear. Nikki has been trying to end my YouTube career since we broke up. You know, in the beginning, she demanded I take down all the old videos, which I knew would really hurt the channel, because of the way the algorithm works. Any YouTube coach will tell you the worst thing you can do for a channel is to take down old videos. But I didn't want the drama. I wanted us to be able to move forward. So I did it. And at the point that I did it, I'd finally started to gain subscribers again. You know, like I'm talking like a few hundred a month, not a lot. But before that, I was losing thousands of subscribers a month. And ever since I took down the old videos, I've been back to losing thousands of subscribers a month. So the channel has just it's been dying over the years, and the algorithm sees that, because it's, you know, all machines are, you know, figuring out this stuff. That's a big reason why my videos don't get pushed out. A lot of people tell me they're not only subscribed, but they've got notifications turned on, but they don't get the notifications. And then, you know, I went through the cancel culture stuff. That was incredibly hard. When Nikki and I broke up, I made a decision that I didn't want to talk about why I left her. I didn't want the girls to find out. I wanted it to be something that, you know, when they're growing up, old enough to understand, perhaps we would have a conversation about it. But I didn't want them to know while they were young. I wanted things to not be as messy as they have been. I've dealt with the cancel culture, the rumors. I guess I have to be quite careful in how I say this. So coincidentally, when everyone was trying to figure out what caused our breakup, and we weren't saying what caused our breakup, Nikki was coincidentally liking a lot of pretty toxic posts, and at that point in time there was like a feed on Instagram that would, you know, like you could just go to that feed and see what a person, you know, was interacting with. So all these people on the gossip forums and stuff were just running with whatever she was liking and coming up with rumors from it. And then at the time when Instagram changed that, where that interaction feed was gone, suddenly she coincidentally started posting all these, you know, like quotes, like narcissist quotes and all that sort of stuff, which led to a lot of hate. And I think because I wasn't doing the same thing back, people just had this assumption that I was the sole cause of our divorce. And I got I dealt with so much hate over the years. From what I know, the cheating rumor started from, I'm pretty sure, a burner account leaving a comment on one of Nikki's Instagram photos about how I cheated on her, and it gained a lot of traction and remained there, and people assumed that that was the truth. And then there was a woman who made a video titled "Jaime Perkins Cheated on Nikki," and it was to the point where when you type my name in YouTube, I believe it's still like that, when you type my name in YouTube, type Jaime Perkins, the sort of autofill at the end is cheated. So when people look me up, that's always what they see. They believe that as fact. That video that lady made got over 1 million views. I've searched for it because it got to the point where I was going to contact her and just human to human ask her to take it down, but I noticed I couldn't see it anymore. So I don't know why. Perhaps she decided to have a heart and take it down. I don't know. But then there was a lot of other people who made similar videos as well, and that was hard to cope with, because the reason Nikki and I broke up was I discovered she had been unfaithful. She'd been going behind my back with her ex-boyfriend, and I'd been warned about him being an issue before I started dating Nikki again. And the first year of our marriage, I discovered that she had been secretly keeping in contact with him. And I didn't see her side of the messages. I saw the Facebook like back then, Facebook used to email you a receipt of the message, and I had logged into my Hotmail, and her Hotmail was still logged in, and I saw all these messages from him, but she had deleted them on her Facebook, so I didn't know what her responses was. But this guy he'd been saying he was in love with her, and he had told her to leave me for him. And you know, we'd always hear about him talking to people about how he was in love with her and how he was going to get her back. And I just thought this guy was a joke. I didn't think much of it. And in that first year of marriage, when I discovered that she had been secretly talking to this guy, it nearly broke us up. It took away a lot of the trust that I had for her, and we moved past it. And I feel like I blocked it out of my memory. It was like I just buried that, and we moved forward. And I never thought I would have to worry about this guy again. And I won't go into details, but I discovered some things I never thought I would discover to do with her and him. And I left. Our marriage had been struggling for a long time. For about 3 years or so, I had been desperately just trying to do everything that I could to fix our marriage, to make her happy, to give her what she wanted. Our marriage kind of went on her timeline. I was just always obsessively reading books on marriage, seeking out different marriage counselors, begging to go to counseling. And we went to 3 different counselors over 3 years in hopes that, one of them could help. Things weren't great between us, but I loved her and I wanted things to work, and I wanted our girls to grow up in a 2-parent household. And I was willing to do anything that I could to make our marriage work. But unfaithfulness was my one thing that I couldn't look past. And when I found out, when it was all undeniable, I left. This time it was different, and I left, and I was gone for good. There was no begging her to be with me. There was no begging her to make it work. There was none of that anymore. It was just like, I'm done. Let's co-parent. Let's end this. And that made her furious. And when I first discovered all of this, I told my parents and I told one friend. She contacted pretty much every person that I was close to and told them a whole different story. I've seen some of the messages people in my life have gotten about what happened between us. The amount of effort she put into trying to get into the lives of people that meant something to me was just, I'd never experienced anything like that. And it was crazy because when we were together, we used to actually argue over the fact she didn't really put any effort into trying to be friends with the people that were important to me, or, you know, that she didn't really want my friends in our lives all that much. And then when we broke up, it was like, I have to make sure that I take whatever means anything to you from you. And I didn't really have the energy to defend myself from a lot of the stuff that went around. I mean, it got to the stage where my family overseas, like my relatives overseas, were getting long emails from her, starting off with, I just felt it in my heart that I had to reach out to you and tell you what I've really had to deal with. And it wasn't just lies about me, it was lies about my parents as well. My parents who loved her like their own blood. My parents loved her so much. They did so much for her over the years. Like, my mum would come and do so much of our housework. She just loved Nikki like the daughter she never had. My dad loved Nikki like the daughter that he never had. And when we broke up, Nikki tried to turn them against me as well. Not just telling them things that she claimed had happened to her, but telling them things that I had said about them to try and break that bond. And my parents still loved her, but they weren't going to turn on their son. And when they wouldn't turn on me, she turned on them. And their life has been incredibly hard. It wasn't just me who had to move to remain in the girls' lives. My mom's 80 years old. She left Geelong. Geelong's 2.5 hours away from where we live. She left Geelong, got her own place. She's starting her life from scratch down here. It's hard for her, but it's even harder for her not seeing her grandkids, who she's always been present in their life since they were born. My dad's 75 years old, still works full-time as a builder in Geelong. He can't start over down here because he's not ready to retire yet, and he also can't afford to retire. So he works in Geelong 5 days a week. Then on a Friday night, he waits for the traffic to die down. He drives down here on a Friday night, gets to my mum's house at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then he spends all of Saturday with my mum and sees his grandkids. And then Sunday night, he drives back to Geelong, and he does this all over again. And my parents are struggling as well. My dad's exhausted. He's always exhausted, but he never complains, and he'll never admit to how hard this all is on him. And it's hard on my mum being so far away from him too. Like, they're on the phone every single day to each other. They miss one another. They want to live together, but they can't. They can't at this point in time. My dad's paying a mortgage on the house that they have in Geelong. And when it gets to the point where they sell that house, there's a lot of work that will need to be done on that house, or demolished and rebuild something on there, because it is in a decent area of Geelong. And then they're paying a rental where we are now. And as their son, I should be helping them more. And I've tried to help over the years. When I've had more money, I have helped. But now I can't even afford, like, I'm not making enough money to afford to pay my rent given my current circumstances, unless, you know, like brand deals suddenly come through, which sometimes they do. So that's where we're at. Like, it's hard. And, you know, my dad lost his job of 18 years. He worked for Porter Davis. Porter Davis shut down. If you're in Australia, you'd know about how Porter Davis shut down. And luckily he was able to get a job with someone he had worked with, you know, like a guy who used to work with Porter Davis moved to another company and was able to get him a job in Geelong. But down here, a 75-year-old man who knows no one in the industry down here, realistically, I don't think he would be able to get a job here. So he just keeps working in Geelong. We've all just been doing whatever we have to do to remain in the girls' lives. But it's at the point where I've realized I've given too much. I've given more than I can give, and I can't continue this way. I want to be able to give the girls the best lives that I can, but there's just constant restrictions. It's like I'm constantly having to give up more and more and more. And Nikki, she's just wanted my life to be as hard as possible. You know, over the years, I've had severe social anxiety because of what she did with just obsessively telling lies about me and feeling like she's just going to demolish relationships. To the point where I just became a recluse for a long time. I had hardly any friends that I spoke to. I had a few people, but I didn't trust people anymore. I didn't want to trust people anymore. I became really recluse. Like when we went into lockdown, it wasn't so hard for me because it just felt like the life I was already living. And then I decided I wanted to try and be social again. I wanted to get to know people somehow because I only knew one person down here. And I joined a dad's play group. And Zoe and I would go to it every Wednesday. By this point, the girls were with me every Wednesday and every Thursday. So every Wednesday, Zoe and we would go to this play group. On Thursdays, she would go to daycare. On Wednesdays, she was with me, you know, at home and at our play group in the morning. And she would get really excited about this, and I would really get excited about interacting with other adults, because for a long time I was pretty much just, you know, it was just everything was about the kids. I lost sense of myself, and this group was just so important to me. And I love seeing Zoe play with other kids as well. If you watch the vlogs, you would remember it as the community garden that we used to go and plant vegetables at and take care of them every week. And Nikki knew about this because Zoe was always excited to go when she would drop her off. And I would always be like, we got dad group today, it's gonna be fun. And Nikki went to the daycare place and she changed Zoe's day. She changed Zoe's daycare day to Wednesday from Thursday so that I could no longer go to this group. You know, Zoe was with me on every Wednesday, and I remember calling the daycare, and they knew that I had equal parenting rights, and they gave me a hard time about changing the days back. Eventually I was able to, but I tried explaining to Nikki. I was like, look, you know, I don't have friends. You know, you made it very hard for me. You gave me severe social anxiety to the point where I don't interact with many people because I didn't want to have to try and defend myself to people. I didn't have the energy for it. So I just stopped interacting with most people. I had, you know, one friend down here, and I was desperately trying to make some friends, to learn how to really interact with people again. I've been in therapy for a long time. I started therapy a year before I left Nikki. My therapist was really pushing me to, you know, you need to start trying to interact with people more regularly again. And I tried explaining to her. She didn't care. It was just the control thing. It's like I felt like she's wanted to isolate me from people over the years. And she's been trying to destroy my career. There's just been a lot of control. I could talk for hours and hours and hours about it. I don't even know what things to talk about. Even just recently, like not that long ago, the kids and I, we were gifted an all expenses paid trip to Disneyland, you know, flights, accommodation, special experiences for us at Disneyland, like once in a lifetime opportunity. And it just so happened to land on a week that was my week with the girls. And I gave her 27 days notice, and she was upset about the fact that I would get to take them to Disneyland before her, and how it's every parent's dream to do that. It wasn't like it was something that I'd planned. I'd been gifted it. She was also furious that I hadn't invited her, which we don't talk. We talk about things that are really important about the kids, and that's kind of it. So obviously I wasn't going to bring a person who abuses me on a trip like that. Like, that made no sense. And then eventually she used the excuse of don't want them missing a few days of school. And I was so heartbroken for the kids that I said, you can have the trip, take the trip. Like, I don't want the kids to miss out. The whole deal was apparently that she was upset that I was going to get to take them first. So I gave it to her, and she didn't want it. She just didn't want me to have it. You know, there's been so many other, I'm just talking about the stuff recently. Like, it was my 40th birthday this year, and she's always giving me a hard time about turning 40. It's something she's always, you know, made me feel self-conscious about, that I'm old. And, you know, she'd given me a hard time about that at a pickup, not even long before that. And I knew something was going to happen on my 40th where she would try and make it hard. And so I had reminded her that, you know, it was coming up. I knew she would have known, because the girls would have been talking about it, because they were excited they'd made some stuff for me. But I reminded her just to keep my bases covered, because it landed on a week that was her week with the kids. And, you know, our agreement is, if it's our birthday, one of our birthday, and the kids are at the other house, we pick them up from, you know, 3:30, and we have them until 6. And I reminded her. She got back to me the day before my birthday. I had a message from a dentist that I'd been to before. About 20 minutes before, I got a message from her saying that a dental appointment had been made for me. And I thought that was strange, and I called them up and told them that it was a mistake, that I didn't book a dentist appointment for my birthday. And they said, oh, we're sorry, something must have happened. There's a girl with the same last name as yours who has a dental appointment that day. And I thought nothing of it. And then 20 minutes after that, I get a text from Nikki letting me know that both the girls have dentist appointments on my birthday, and that I can take them there on my birthday. I didn't even let her know that I knew she had literally just booked it before sending that message, because the notification had came through, and I don't think she would have thought that I would have got that notification, because it was just like, what's the point in even bringing this stuff up? Because it's just, this is kind of how it is. Yeah, this is the sort of stuff I deal with. I've dealt with violence as well. That was another hard rumor that I had to deal with years ago. I mean, it still goes around the internet. There's still people who think this of me, that I was violent. When Nikki and I broke up, I was receiving a lot of threats. She was threatening to tell lies about me on the internet. She was doing such a great job of it with people in our life that I took that quite seriously, especially with all the, you know, stuff she was liking. She would come to me and tell me what gossip people were saying about me, and, you know, rub it in my face. So I took her threat seriously. And also, she had come to the house and been violent, punched me multiple times, kicked me, just been horrible. And this was in front of kids, in front of my mum, and things like this had happened throughout our marriage as well. Nikki, she was like two different people. And that was what I always struggled with. Because there was a version of her that I was just head over heels in love with. And then there was a version of her that I felt like I didn't know. And I never knew when that version was going to come out. And when that version came out, it'd stick around for like a week or so, sometimes longer, sometimes less. And that version had a very violent temper. There was anger problems. And there was a number of times, and I won't talk about all of them, I'll just talk about things that I have documented that I can 100% prove. There was a number of times where she had, hit me multiple times in front of the kids, where she would throw objects at me, objects that would hurt. She would hit me with heavy objects. I've had a lump on the back of my head from being hit with a heavy object, and that was in front of my brother. My brother saw that. Very few people knew about this. I didn't want people to know about this stuff that I was going through. My parents knew about it because they had seen it on different occasions. My brother knew about it because he had seen it once, and her sister Paula knew about it because I would go to her asking for help. Nikki had been through a lot growing up. And I don't know if that's a result of it, but that was an excuse that I would always give. But there were points in our marriage where I was very scared of her. I was walking on eggshells, and I wasn't scared of her like I thought she could kill me, like what women experience when they experience domestic violence. But it was a feeling of humiliation. I felt so small because I never hit her back. And I thought so low of men who hit women. And I'll be honest, there was one day where I felt I wanted to hit her back, which was one of the scariest feelings I've ever felt, because I never knew that part of me existed. There was a day where she tried to throw a camera in my face. And because she'd thrown heavy things at me before, I knew that it was real. And in self-defense, I wanted to hit her. And I felt my fist clench. And I just left the house. I was gone for a few days. She ended up saying she would go to marriage counseling after that. And thank God I never felt like that again. But I feel like almost just a scarier feeling was when times like that happened again, I just I didn't feel the emotion. I felt small. I felt powerless. I felt humiliated. I felt like I wasn't a real man. And so when she was coming to the house being violent and making serious threats, and there was other threats made, got to the point where I had to install security cameras all around my house. And the house that I used to live in, it had panic buttons. It was in a bougie area, and there's a security guard office down the road. But I didn't feel safe, and I went to seek a protection order against her. And that was one of the hardest things I ever did, because I felt like I was betraying her, because I constantly just made excuses for why she had the issues that she had, why she would just have this uncontrollable anger. And I felt like she couldn't help it. I felt like there was two Nickis, and I felt like I was punishing the Nikki that I still cared about because of what the other Nikki did, which just sounds crazy when I say it like that, but that's kind of how I rationalized it. But I knew that I needed to protect myself. So I went to court to seek a protection order, and I was still protecting her at the time. I requested that the doors be closed. When I spoke to the judge, I requested that my name not be on the court, the court ledger, because I was worried, what if somebody who knows who I am is in there and this all gets out? And someone did recognize me in that courtroom, and they saw me holding family violence papers somehow. They went on the internet and they said that I was there holding family violence papers. People came up with the assumption that I must have been there defending myself because she wasn't in the courtroom. But it was the other way around. And I got forced to the point where I had to talk about it, and I still didn't want to throw her under the bus. And I worded it and I said I've never been to court to defend myself, which was the truth, because I wasn't the defendant. But I know it was dishonest. I didn't want to throw her under the bus, but I also didn't want people thinking something of me that wasn't true. So I said that I was never there to defend myself, and my lawyer at the time was telling me to sue this girl, but realistically I don't think she had anything to sue her for, and the amount of money that goes into defamation cases, it wasn't worth my time. So I left it. But that's one of the rumors that I've worn over the years. I've worn the cheating rumors. I've worn the abuse rumor. And when the cheating rumors really, really got worse and worse, and I really got to the point where I felt like, you know what, I need to stand up for myself, I was fighting to be in my kids' lives. And going back and forth with her on the internet would not have helped that. So I had to choose, do I care about my kids, or do I care about my ego and my career and my reputation? And I'm going to choose my kids any day of the week. So I wasn't going to come out and say anything that could have affected my ability to be able to be a 50-50 dad, which is all I've ever wanted. I've always thought it was important, regardless of what my relationship with their mum is like. I've always thought it was important for them to have a mum, because they love their mum, and I know that she loves them. And to this day, I would love to be able to co-parent with her. I've offered time and time again to pay for us to have family counseling sessions where we talk to someone who specializes in co-parenting. And the way things have been with her just seeking so much control over my life for so long, and the abuse that I've experienced, the control, it needs to change, and I don't know how to change it. And I've tried everything I feel that I can try. I've sought help through the legal system. I've sought help through counseling. I've sought help through God and the church. Girls are thriving in the school that they're in now, but it is private. I need to be able to keep these payments up, and I'm stressed because I know I can't continue living this way. And I just want to be able to give them the best life that I possibly can. So this is where I'm at. This is what I've been going through for so long. This is why I haven't seemed like myself, because I've been in survival mode for years. My self-esteem has just completely crumbled. I've lost sense of who I am outside of being a father. And I'm just trying to figure out how I can move past all these obstacles that have just constantly been thrown at me. And from now on, I'm going to start posting more honest content about what I'm going through. The stuff that I have been posting with the kids, the family stuff, that's real. That's us. That's the real us. But there's another side of my life, which has been the harder side, that I have been keeping private, because I've never felt like it's an honorable thing to air your family's dirty laundry. But I'm at the point where I have to explain what's going on and why you're not going to see a lot of family content anymore. And I know a lot of people, it's not what they signed up for. And I understand that, but this is where I'm at. So from now on, you're going to see, probably like some Uber content, or I'm just going to make whatever I can, because I need to figure out how to make a little bit of extra money so that I can keep going. This is where my life's at right now. And if there's anybody out there who can help us, please reach out, because our family desperately needs help. I'm not telling my story out of bitterness. I'm telling it because I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. This is the only thing I haven't tried. Sharing what I've been going through. I know people have seen it in my eyes for a long time. I've been going through it, but I've never told you guys why it's so hard for me. You know, I've talked about how I want to be able to go back to working a regular job. I want to get back into film, but I can't, because if I can't do these school runs, I'm not going to be in the girls' lives that much. I risk losing them. And I don't have a relationship with their mum where she's going to encourage that relationship. Important things a lot of the time I'm just left out about. I mean, I remember Ava was in hospital with a suspected concussion. I didn't hear about it until the next week when she came back to my house. This is the sort of thing that goes on, and I try and keep her in the loop about everything that's important with the kids. Over the years, when she's been nice to me, I'm always giving her the same energy back. But when she's being abusive, I curl into my shell because I don't know how to handle the level of conflict that's thrown at me. So yeah, this is where I'm at. This is why I haven't been posting videos in a long time. This is what I've been going through over the years. This is why I've never spoken up about why we broke up. I never wanted to. I never wanted to tell the story. But this is it. This is where we're at.
Calm down.
Out of the house, Nikki. Please leave. Please leave. Please leave the house, Nikki. Please leave the house.
Look at you.
Please leave. Please leave the house. Please leave the house. This is violence. You've got the kids in your hands. Leave the house right now.
This is exactly what he wanted.
Leave the house right now.
This is exactly what he wanted.
Leave the house.
And look, he's getting video
Leave the
evidence.
house.
He's been planning this.
Leave the house.
He has been planning
Leave the
this
house.
from day one.
Leave the house. Leave the house. The children don't deserve to see this.
I think you need to take responsibility.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Leave the house.
You guys will never see my kids again.
That is
You guys will never see my kids again.
that will
Ever.
not.
Ever.
That will not happen. Leave the house.
Look at you guys.
Leave the house.
Look at you guys.
Look.
That's
Leave the
hilarious.
house.
Look,
You're
Leave the
outside,
house.
whatever, get
Leave
out.
the house, Nikki. Leave the
This is
house.
exactly what you wanted, Jamie.
Leave the
This is
house.
exactly what you wanted. You're actually
Leave the house.
exactly what you wanted.
And this is what I've been putting up with for years. Violence. All of this. And the kids have to see it. That's the sad thing. And never taking responsibility for any of her actions. Caught out trying to cheat on me, and then she acts like this. Instead of saying sorry, instead of trying to make it right. I'm sorry, Mom. You okay?
no, I'm not. Okay.
Where's your phone? I'm actually calling the police.
No, just leave it for now.
Yesterday, Nikki sent me a nasty message saying that she won't be picking Ava up anymore, and if I want to take her home on these Wednesdays, then I have to bring her back as well. So basically I drive down, which is, I anticipate about 2 hours to get there, depending on traffic. Sometimes if I'm lucky it's an hour and a half, and then it's about an hour and a half back. So that's essentially like 3.5 hours driving. So I'm normally pretty exhausted by the time I get home. And then I'm gonna have to do it all over again to drop her back off. So I'll probably have about 4 hours with her at home, and I'll spend about 7 hours in the car today, but it's worth it just to hang out with her in an environment that's familiar to her. I think it's important for her to have that home environment with Dad still, and it not just become a situation of me seeing
them and taking them to shopping centers, because I feel like that, I don't know, I just feel like it creates a subconscious relationship with dad, it creates a relationship with dad where it's just an outing type thing. Home isn't with dad, if that makes sense, and I still want them to feel like they have a home with their father, and that's why it's very important for me to continue taking them home. So that's what I'm doing today. A little bit emotional. It's a bit hard knowing that it's not actually a birthday, but I'm just trying to make the most of it. And you know, I hope that things won't be like this forever. We're about 6 months, maybe 7 months into our separation. At the moment, I see things getting nastier with her rather than better. I try to be fair with everything. I try not to cause conflict. I'm constantly walking on eggshells, but still nothing's ever good enough. She's always looking for a reason to snap and be angry, and it's just, honestly, it's really exhausting dealing with it. It sucks that the kids have to see it. Like, the only reason that I think I got to see them on Christmas Day was Christmas Day landed on my Wednesday, and even with that, I was very fair. She wanted to have them for most of the day, and I said, look, how about you have them until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I picked them up at 2, realistically had them home by 4-ish. So that's pretty much the entire Christmas Day with you, and she still wanted more. She wanted me to pick them up at dinner time, even though it wasn't her day with the kids. And like, had it been the other way around, she wouldn't have been as like fair as I was trying to be. And it's honestly, it's so frustrating trying to negotiate with somebody who's like that when you're just trying to create a good environment for the kids. And even like, I tried to make Christmas normal. When I got there, I had presents for my nieces and Nikki's little brother, and in front of the kids, like her and her brother were like, we don't want these, we're not giving them to them. And Nikki said in front of the kids that those kids don't even like me anymore. And you know, had to deal with Ava asking me why can't you give why aren't you giving the presents to your cousins? And I just didn't answer it. I didn't say anything. It's just, oh man, it's just, life shouldn't be this way. Kids shouldn't have to see this sort of stuff. Why would you keep me from even knowing where Ava goes to kinder? Like, do you know how hard it was?
That's for my own safety. I don't trust you 100%. Like, let's be real.
Over the years, the only person who's ever been violent is you. Like, there's no reason for you to not trust me. Like, what have I ever done?
Because you have a whole lot more to lose than me, yeah? Like, I have a whole lot more to lose than you, is what I'm saying.
But there's
like,
nothing...
you don't have family, you don't have friends, like, you're kind of depressed right now, whatever. You know, you don't have your kids, like, you can act out.